Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hello, my name is Julie and I've been posting a lot about decluttering, clutter-free parenting, living your best life in an organized fashion. I'm a mom of 3 kids, and so today I'm going to be talking about weaning. Not the British weaning, which is when you introduce foods to your baby, but weaning from breastfeeding. So a little different from what I've been up to lately, but this is a channel all about parenting, and these are topics that I think are important, and I wish that I had a video like this. I'm also going to try not waffle too much. Let's see how we do. I now have a 2-year-old, my youngest one. She's 2 and a quarter, 2 and a bit, and we recently stopped breastfeeding. And it's interesting because I've had a lot of different feelings from when I weaned my other 2 children. And I don't even know if I weaned them, to be honest. I feel like they weaned themselves. So a little bit of backstory. My oldest child is 8. I think we breastfed until he was about 2. At that point, I was already pregnant with number 2. So it wasn't that hard for me. For him, I think he took it pretty well. We kind of replaced one habit of breastfeeding, if we can call it that, with another one, which was offering him like milk in a cup. He didn't really want that, so he never really was one to drink milk, like non-breast milk. I think we offered him almond milk, and sometimes that's pretty disgusting, to be honest, the brand that I bought or whatever, and he wasn't into it. We kind of successfully broke the habit. I was working like out of the home at the time, and I was pregnant, so my motivation was pretty high with weaning him because I didn't want him to get confused and be jealous of this new baby. I wanted there to be a big enough amount of time where he kind of forgot that he ever breastfed, right? But I, on the whole, didn't have any trouble with breastfeeding. I was really lucky. If anything, I would say the trouble I have when it comes to breastfeeding is the stopping part. So we're going to get into that because I think this is not something that's talked about a lot, especially when you have older kids. In at least my case, I definitely feel a lot of sort of shame around breastfeeding for long periods of time, and it's been like a personal sort of quest and growth thing for me to not really care what anybody else thinks, because this is about me, my body, my baby, my choices, and what works for me. Okay, so then baby number 2 rolls around, breastfeed her. She actually was very difficult to wean, and I feel like I was still breastfeeding her not consistently by any means, but probably till she was closer to 3 years old, which, even admitting that, I'm like, people are going to judge me and think I'm a Looney Tune. That's okay. I'm just being honest because I'm sure there are other people out there as well who struggle with this. And, breastfeeding for me with her was really interesting because I went back to work full time out of the house when she was about 9 months old. I think I started when she was 6 months old. I went back part-time, so I was gone like 2 days a week. And then when she turned, when she was about 3 months later, I went back full-time. And so there was a lot of guilt for me that I was missing out on her. And breastfeeding, if you've ever done it, it's a very bonding experience between you and your baby. Only you can do it with your baby. It connects you, and it's very sweet. And it's, for me, I really like, yes, it's hard not having, people talk about not having their body or whatever. For me, it gets hard because I feel like just my body never really can go back kind of to normal, lopsidedness and all that kind of stuff. One boob is bigger than the other one. So that part for me is hard, and then you can obviously get into a position where they only want you, putting them to bed is harder because they need breast milk or they need to breastfeed in order to get ready for bed. That's part of their routine. That's their habit, the whole thing. So that part is hard, yes. But like on the whole, I enjoyed it. I found it a very useful tool to soothe a child, to make them feel comfortable, to make them feel close. And so I've learned a bunch of things. So anyway, so then we are now pregnant with number 3 at this point, and it was like I needed a big transition in order for me to break the habit, because ultimately I always joke that my kids would breastfeed forever if I didn't actually stop it. So I never had the issue where they just naturally stopped. It was always like me having to actually stop, and then not wanting to, disappoint them or hurt their feelings, I guess. I know that I'm not like damaging them by stopping breastfeeding. I mean, they're already being breastfed probably longer than like a lot of babies. If you can get to a year, 6 months, whatever you can do, and that's amazing. And so these kids are not being breastfed until they're like 2, 3, whatever. So we get to baby number 3, and I don't go back to work in the same capacity. It's like COVID, and then we moved, and I never went back into an office like I did with the other 2. So we have been together, non-stop since she was born. Plus she was like a COVID born born during COVID. It's just like a weird time. And we definitely bonded, and she loves breastfeeding. And so it's been hard. It hasn't been easy for me to wean her. And so what I actually did, which is kind of random, and I sort of planned this on purpose, was that I booked a trip for myself to visit my friend in London, which I know it's excessive, but that's where a lot of my friends live, but especially one specific friend. And I went to London for 9 days. And part of that was to wean my toddler. Like part of the byproduct of that, I was like, this will be great for me to wean her, because I planned this trip like 6 months ago. I knew she was going to be 2 and a bit by this point, and I thought, okay, this will help us break the habit. And do you know, I came back, I've only been back for like a week, not even a week. And she has asked me every single day to nurse. And obviously she didn't nurse when I wasn't here. And I tried to kind of stop nursing before I left. And it was a struggle to get her to be on board with that. She will drink milk out of a cup, and she loves choosing all the different cups and everything, but it's not the same for her. And like, I get it. And part of me also felt like, there's some element in her toddler brain, her growing toddler brain, that like equates nursing to cuddles and closeness and quality time. And when she's breastfeeding, like, she has me all to herself. We can't, like, she got so heavy. I mean, as a little baby, I'd walk around with her, but now I'm like, I sit, and it forces me to slow down. And it was just this reminder that, there are more ways to show your love for your baby than just breastfeeding. I can also cuddle her and hug her and comfort her, even in like similar positions, without actually nursing her. We can still be close without us exchanging milk. You know what I mean? And so that was something that I kind of would say to her, like, we can still cuddle, and mommy still loves you, and we're gonna spend so much time together. And since I've been back, if she's hurt herself or bumped her head or done something, she still says, mommy milk, and I said to her, mommy doesn't have any more milk, which is not strictly true, but we've definitely decreased the supply, and which is good, because that makes me feel a lot more comfortable. I'm not worried that I'm gonna get like mastitis or something, because I was like expressing milk when I got to the UK, because I was worried that, especially my one side would like explode, and that's no fun. Like, you don't realize how painful boobs can be until you have a baby and they start like talking to you. So, you need to be weaning like purposefully and sort of consciously. If it's not a natural progression, you can't just suddenly go from like nothing. You can try and cut down feeds, but I found with a toddler, by this point, like, they're very demanding, they're vocal, they throw tantrums. It's not easy to wean, at least in my opinion. Like, it's not easy to just suddenly have them go cold turkey with something that they love and find so comforting and that they've known their whole lives. So if you're in this situation, know that you can do hard things. Have a good why, like a strong why as to why you want to stop nursing. For me, I feel like it's time. She wants to nurse in public, and I'm like, she's ripping off my clothes. She really, by this point, she's eating food, she has all her teeth, like, she doesn't need the milk from me. Yes, I think breast milk is amazing and is great for your immune system, but I think now, being over the age of 2, like, she's done pretty great. As a side note, I remember researching this topic a while back, and human beings actually naturally wean between the ages of 2 and 7, which is crazy bonkers. Like, imagine that. And so I know it's kind of weird when people see older toddlers or younger children still nursing, and there's so much judgment that gets thrown around. And trust me, like, I have felt that a ton. And so I don't want to say that that was my reason for stopping, but it is nice to know that, like, my husband can easily put her to bed. I mean, he could do that before, but like, it's even just easier now knowing that she's not reliant on breast milk to go to sleep. We can have babysitters. I can fit back into my clothes again and like feel bit more normal. I think it'll probably help like regulate my hormones and everything and get me back to like pre-baby self. Like this is me, not me lactating, you know. And I have been pregnant or breastfeeding or like postpartum for like 9 years, basically non-stop, which is crazy. So it's good for my body to enter a new phase. And I think it's time for her too. Like she's now started going to school. She's potty trained. She speaks a lot. Like it's the next natural phase for us. And so that was kind of my why. But it's been hard. There've been times, honestly, where I just feel like I could just easily go back to giving her some milk and she would be so happy and would probably fill us both with these amazing hormones. And I just had to tell myself that if I suddenly, like any habit that you're trying to quit or change, like if I suddenly now just feed her, it's cruel, you know, like it's cruel to give her hope that we're going to start doing this again. And then I'm suddenly going to be like, nope, when I feel like, you know, I don't feel like doing it. So that's kind of my why as to why I have stopped and haven't kind of fed her anymore. And I tried not to also place too much emphasis on like the last time I gave her milk, because I honestly can't remember. It's cumulative over all of these years. But yeah, so I would recommend, if you are trying to wean your child, have a very strong why. And then you might need to have a plan in place, depending on the kid, you know, depending how strong-willed they are or how determined. And because I don't work away from the home, like I'm with her all the time. Now she's going to school, but it's not a lot, you know, it's like mornings. She hasn't forgotten. I went away for 9 days and she still hadn't forgotten about milk. And even when I went away the first couple of days, I think she woke up and she, you know, wanted me and that kind of stuff. The other thing I would say is have some kind of habit replacement. So for us, she gets to choose what kind of cup she wants, and she has some milk in a cup, and she finds that comforting. That it might not be milk for you, or you know, it might be oat milk or whatever kind of milk. It doesn't matter. But having something to replace what they're used to, I think, is just helpful and just human nature. You know, they're not adults. They're not going to be able to handle a habit change in the same way as we would, and they don't know why you're stopping this, because to them it still feels very natural. So just keep that in mind. And then, as I said, I had a plan. I went away for 9 days, and it definitely helped. It definitely helped us like set the whole thing up so that when I came back, I could be stronger about telling her, nope, mommy doesn't have any more milk. We can go get some milk from here, or I can get you some water or some fizzy water or something like more exciting. We're trying to kind of stay away from the juice. That's what you got to do. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. And it's hard to do hard things, but I know you can do it. Let me know what age you weaned your child or how it went with you, and if you struggled at all. I know I'm kind of jealous of people where they're just like, yeah, we just stopped. There's got to be more to that story, right? How can you just stop? It's like quitting smoking. How can you just stop? I mean, maybe you can, but there are true people in this relationship. It's not just me. I could just stop, but how do you get the toddler to stop? So that has been my experience. I hope this is helpful and encouraging to you if you're in the same situation. I also think we should not be shaming women for breastfeeding for longer than a year, or I think it's called long-term breastfeeding once you hit over a year. There's just a lot of stigma, and maybe it's just American stigma, but I don't think so. I think in South Africa, I definitely felt that. And, you know, I'm sure in other westernized countries, it's similar. So let me know your experience. And with all that said, I'll be back with a decluttering video of some sort very soon. But I just wanted to create this video and make this video for any moms out there that might be in the same position as me. Okay, bye.